As we all know, Dehya elemental burst is bugged. You get cancelled whenever you jump, and they get cancelled when you're frozen, plus many other ways you can cancel her elemental burst. But what if I tell you it is actually not a bug, but just a feature? Let me explain to you why. If you just think about it for a moment, MiHoYo deliberately added a line of code that say if you jump on Dehya, then cancel your elemental burst. No other character in the game functions this way. Many other characters' elemental bursts do not get cancelled when you jump, and it's very likely that MiHoYo recycled or inherited the same code with Dehya as of any other characters. This is referred to as Object-Oriented Programming, or OOP for short, which usually speaking in terms of gaming development, you just inherit a playable character class or something upon every single character. And we can generally expect that most characters to function very similarly, so it doesn't make sense that why this is the unique case for Dehya unless they deliberately add it in. In fact, this is actually proven by the fact that when you dash jump, your burst doesn't immediately end, but it instead just performs the finisher as soon as possible instead. And it's very likely that MiHoYo programmed the burst this way, where when you do some kind of condition like jumping, then you instead directly move on to just performing the finishing strike and ending your elemental burst. Oh, and if you're wondering what the background is, well, these are graphs. It is how games are programmed in Unreal engines, and obviously Genshin is built on Unity engine instead, but you get the idea. It's just to showcase what a finite state machine is, or a FSM for short. These type of graphs are basically used to determine the current state of the characters, and every time a condition is met, you transition onto the next stage, such as the elemental burst ending on Dehya. Of course, if MiHoYo decide to deliberately add this into the characters, then it's not a bug, it's a feature, because they do it on purpose. And of course, MiHoYo's customer support also officially confirmed that it is not a bug, but it's a intended mechanics, so yeah, now you know it's not a bug. But of course, with that in mind, the next question naturally would be something like, why would MiHoYo deliberately add these features into Dehya? Did they actually try to cripple Dehya as much as possible? Well, to that, I also have some answers, or rather, theory. And at first, it might seem like MiHoYo are adding these features just to cripple Dehya on purpose to make her bad, but I think that's a little too straightforward as an answer. And despite the fact that I do believe Dehya is a really terrible character, I don't think MiHoYo would really do that to purposely nerf a character and go such length to cripple a character. It is more likely that something during Dehya development went wrong instead, and after seeing this clip, this made me believe so as well. In this clip here, Dehya ran into a barrel and her elemental burst got cancelled, similar to how she was jumped or frozen, and I find it really unlikely that MiHoYo would write up condition one by one to deliberately cancel elemental burst. Imagine you're a gameplay programmer and you type your code like this. If frozen, cancel elemental burst on Dehya. If you jump, cancel elemental burst on Dehya. If you run into a barrel, cancel elemental burst on Dehya. If you run into a box, cancel elemental burst on Dehya, and much more. I found that this is really unlikely that a programmer would decide to program it this way, because this is just really inefficient and pointless. Of course, it is more likely that MiHoYo just have one overall condition for all the terrain related items, such as if they run into an object with a tag equals to like roadblock or obstacle, then cancel her elemental burst. But even then, that doesn't really make sense, because there's so many things that can cancel the elemental burst, such as just elevations and stuff like that. So it is much more likely that there's just one overall giant if condition that actually does the cancel elemental burst on Dehya. And what is that? If Dehya is unable to proceed with her auto-targeting mechanics, then cancel her elemental burst. That is the common thing between all of these, is that you can't attack anymore. When you're frozen, you can't attack. When you jump, you cancel all of your existing attack, and you couldn't really perform an attack immediately. And of course, that's how jump cancel is invented, but that's a different topic. The thing here is that anytime you are unable to attack immediately, you just cancel your elemental burst, which is likely how MiHoYo decided to program it this way. But the next question would then be, why? You see, with Genshin Impact being a live service game, there is a lot of pressure for the gameplay developer to ship on time. After all, there's a patch every 6 weeks, and you have to get everything done by the patch is about to release, which means there is a strict deadline on when are you going to be able to complete your development. But the thing that makes programming unique compared to many other jobs in the world is that the timeline is always an estimate and never accurate. This is just due to the nature of how programs are being written, and there's no such thing as bug-free program in the world. You see, unlike digging a hole where if you dig 10 pounds of dirt per day, then in 10 days you know that you'll have dig 100 pounds of dirt, and you can have a really clear estimate of timeline. Programming doesn't work like that. When an issue is raised or when a new feature is requested, it could take a day, or it could take a week or anything in between. There is no accurate numbers, it's just always a best guess estimate. So what happened when something during the development go wrong? Well, you tend to take shortcut or just prioritize whatever is the most important. The Elemental Burst is the first case in Genshin Impact where it tried to attack things in front of you automatically. It's very likely that it came with a lot of bug, and very likely one of the bug is that if Dehya for some reason is in a state where she can't attack, then she will fly across the screen or something like that, because you keep trying an attack when you can't attack and you get stuck in a soft locked state. Now that would be a terrible player experience. That would be a really clear broken experience for the player, and miHoYo don't want to do that. And of course they want to fix that. But the problem is, it is unclear how long it will take to fix something like that. Again, it might be a day, it might be a week, it might just be really hard to fix because, well, programming. Knowing how janky the Genshin Impact auto-targeting system is, and knowing how janky the Unity engine just really is, I can totally see something happening where they just fly across the screen when she get into a bad state. So what happened when a gameplay programmer run into an issue like this? Well, they raise it to their product lead, the product owner of Dehya, and they determine if this is something worth fixing or not. When it comes down to gameplay development like this, it could take a week or two just to fix issues like this, and it's very likely that miHoYo have deemed it as something that's not worth prioritizing and not worth fixing. But of course, they can't ship a broken experience where they just fly across the screen either. So what did they do instead? Well, they decided to go with an alternate path, just prevent the player from getting into that state, which is just cancelling your Elemental Burst whenever you enter one of these conditions. Of course, this is a lesser pleasant experience because you run into a situation where the player don't understand why your burst is cancelled, but it's much better than shipping a broken experience where the player just kind of feels like the game is buggy. Then that's how we came to be. The Elemental Burst being cancelled by a jump attack. It's likely the end result of a different bug turned into a feature. You probably have heard that one before. That is probably something pretty common when it comes down to programming. The next question you might have is like, why is miHoYo so focused on trying to make the Elemental Burst attack things in front of it automatically? Well, that I also have an answer for you actually. It comes down to how the dynamic of the characters is being played. At the end of the day, video games are made to be fun. They do this by creating a dynamic where the player feels like they're engaging a lot and just having a lot of fun in general. The actual gameplay itself doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter how the game is actually being played, as long as it can present a really good dynamic where the player feels like they're having fun. This is the case for Dehya Elemental Burst, and you can see a lot of people like to talk about how Dehya and how fun she is to play. You see, Dehya Elemental Burst has a really straightforward and simple gameplay design. You just click the attack button and she will punch. That's really it. But how come that experience is so much more fun than other experience for players? That is because the dynamic that it is being presented is not the same as the actual gameplay itself. Yeah, the gameplay just involves you clicking the attack button, but the dynamic it is trying to present is that Dehya is punching really fast. And they achieve these by starting with automatically punching. With Dehya Elemental Burst just automatically attack for you, the attack button no longer present the idea of let me click the button to attack, but rather the attack button present the idea of let me click the attack button to speed up my attack and throw out more punches. And this gives you the feeling of you pressing the attack button mean that you attack faster and faster, giving you that order feel rather than just press the button to attack. You see, even though it is the same in terms of the gameplay itself, the dynamic it is trying to present is totally different and unique because of the auto-targeting mechanics. This is the real reason why the Elemental Burst attack by itself. Otherwise, miHoYo wouldn't have added that in if they weren't trying to present a really unique design or mechanics or dynamics about its characters. It is there for a reason. And unfortunately, they decided to keep that over anything else because that is the dynamic they want to present. So that takes precedence of anything else, and then any bugs that come after might just get left behind, which is why the Elemental Burst kind of ended up this way. Is it really a bug though if it just ended up being a feature anyway, as confirmed by miHoYo? You know what else is a really good features being presented by YouTube? The subscribe and the like and the comment features. By subscribing and liking the video and commenting on the video, you can let other people know that you are having a wonderful time watching this video as well. So why don't you do that for me real quick and experience features, and yeah, and I'll see you guys next time, alright? And bye.